And we're live. Hey guys, welcome to a special edition of Whiskey Charlie for the ACDC, the Armchair Dragoons Digital Convention, January 2022. I'm your host, Mo from Moe's Game Table, and joining me are my co-hosts, everybody's favorite Gimp with the Limp, the Gimpy Gamer, Nate Rogers. Hey Nate, how's it going?
It's going great now that I'm actually connected.
There you
It
go.
only
That was
took
a lot
20
of problems
minutes.
getting you guys connected. And then, of course, we have Brant from the Armchair Dragoons, who is having some issues coming in and out. As you'll see, he may be playing musical chairs today. He freezes up, and then we have to bring him in and out. So welcome to the show, Brant.
Yo, what's up, guys? Hey, thanks
Not
to everybody who's watching us.
Yeah, it's great to have everybody coming in and everybody joining up, watching, as well as you two guys live on site here at the Gamers Armory. Tell us all about that.
Yeah, we're actually.
Oh, he froze again. Oh, there you go. No, he's back.
So, Gamers Armory is the local game store for us. Am I back?
Excellent.
It's gonna be fun. So,
yeah, it's going to be interesting.
So this is one of the most wargame friendly stores in the country, and we love trying to give them a little bit of love when we're here. They do online ordering and stuff. This isn't just an infomercial for the store, but part of what we wanted to bring up and mention in all of this. We're going to talk a little bit more about it tomorrow night with the keynote, but one of the things that the Dragoons are going to start doing this year, we're going to start highlighting wargame friendly local game stores around the country. And so we figured what better way to do that than to announce that from one of the better wargame stores in the country. And so what we've got an online forum that folks can submit their local game store through, and we're going to start kind of building a directory of these things. And we're going to highlight a different one every week or two. Some pictures from the store, some information about where to find them, how wargame friendly they are, the kinds of events they do. And we're going to start making this a recurring feature on the website so folks can go find their local game store to play at. Especially now that the stores can, like start opening back up and stuff. So,
True.
Yeah.
And I know both you and Gimpy go there, so it's not like it's a new place for both you guys. You just didn't realize you both went to the same store.
No, actually, at the start of every one of my videos is the Gamers Armory logo. It's the one that I put up there at the top right. So I always push the store anytime I put up any video.
There you go.
Yeah. This is so it's Scott Blanton's the guy that owns it. Scott has owned this. It started as an online web store before he ever opened the brick and mortar one. The brick and mortar one's been open a decade-ish now, maybe just if not quite 10 years, then just barely under 10. And this is actually the second location. It used to be across the street. I remember, seeing the one across the street before they'd even opened. But it's a great store. Scott is now he's the guy that runs day-to-day operations for Multiman up in Baltimore. He commutes from here to there. So Mike, we'll meet Mike here in a little bit when we walk around the store. Mike is
that sound.
Mike is somewhere up there at the counter back there.
Okay.
And we'll meet Mike here in a little bit. So Mike actually runs the store day to day for Scott these days. But it's been a great place for all the years I've been coming here. They've had a lot of my money over the years. I'm sure they've got a lot of Gimpy's money over the years. And but I mean, it's a great place to work from. We ran a summer camp out of here one year for a week. We did a game focused summer camp for kids the summer of 2016. And we had originally set it up for a couple of weeks. We just the way enrollment worked, we collapsed it all into a single week, and it was a blast. And we were all set to do it again summer 2017, and I got a real job offer. So no summer camp for the kids. But yeah, I mean it's a great family friendly, wargame friendly place, and we'll walk around and take a look at it here in a few minutes. So Nate, what's been your experience gaming around here?
This place has actually been great for me. When I first moved to the area, we had moved here for family, and where I came from, we had no game stores, like any. And I was excited because there was one just a few minutes up the road. So we hopped in the car and showed up, and Scott was actually the first person that I met. And I came to the store and I started asking him questions. I had gotten into X-Wing at that point, and he started telling me about the game nights that they had, the people that were there, named off a few of them so I knew who to look for. I showed back up on X-Wing night, met the people, had a really good time, and started becoming a regular. And other than that, that was our main interactions. But at the time, he didn't know that I was Gimpy. He just knew that I was another customer, a Gimpy customer, as it were. And when I went to the WBC the first time when I met you there, Mo, I was walking by and I see Scott, and we both kind of stop and we look at each other and we're like, "Hey, I know you." It's like, "Yeah, I'm the Gimpy gamer." And it was at that point I started actually getting to know Scott more and helping to push the store. And I've had a great time. He's been more than welcoming ever since I first started coming here. But it's not just because I run the channel; it's the way he was for everyone. Customer, anyone who comes in the store, he's just welcoming. Well, him and everyone else that works here.
That's great. Yeah, that's what we want. And we want to make sure we highlight those stores because, the past couple of years has been difficult for everybody. And, these game stores, they really rely on foot traffic, not only for sales, but also for people hanging around the stores, playing the games. That actually draws more people into the stores to play more games and at the same time purchase more products. So we got to do our part by making sure that we get the notice out there for these stores that are, really good to go visit when you're in the area, or if you live in the area, go make sure that you patronize the store and go play at the store. And if they're a war game friendly store, all the more reason to go in there, because then you can buy your games, you can play your war games, you can, try to bring in more war gamers, things like that, and support these stores that support us.
I'm going to pivot the laptop here real quick and see that's all game space back there.
Nice.
That they've got set up in here. So, I mean, this used to be a pizza joint. There we go. So, this used to be a pizza joint, so lots of table space in here and plenty of room to play. So it's been a great resource for folks in the community. There's actually a whole bunch of folks that names people would recognize that have been through here and played around here. Ray Farrell tested a lot of some of the games that he's published through like GMT. A lot of those got play tested here with some of the war game crowd. Dick Vollers is around here. Bruce Garrick used to live in the area here. Jamie Cribbs, big ASL player, very active on Social Content World, has played here for a long time. So there's a bunch of folks around here. Peter Robbins, who's one of our GMs, who he's local here to the area as well. I'm firmly convinced, and I've said before, I'm firmly convinced that the Raleigh area, the Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill area here, where gamers are, kind of the middle of it all. We've easily got as many war gamers as the Columbus area, where Gary is. We just suck at getting organized, right?
Yeah.
Because Columbus has cabs to kind of organize all that stuff. Even though the war gamers make up a small percentage of cabs is so big that even a small percentage of it is a lot of war gamers. And so using cabs as a vehicle to organize all those guys, Gary's got the benefit of a pretty well organized wargaming community in his area. We've got that many war gamers around here. Nate's probably met a bunch of them also. We've got that many war gamers around here. We just suck at getting organized. That's all.
Well, you got two war gamers here, both content creators. You have a website. Gimpy's got a channel on YouTube. No more excuses. Get it organized. Yeah. Make it happen. Get the war gamers together and make it happen. Break it down into companies and platoons if you need to.
once we can get past as much of the plague as possible, the goal is to try and get some sort of Dragoon Con in person and base it out of the store here and then expand from there as we need to. So, hey, Harold, we technically are in Cary, North Carolina, which is adjacent to Raleigh. It's kind of like, Poway down there in San Diego. If you know where Poway is, that's great. Otherwise, you just tell people you're in San Diego because that's all anybody knows. Nobody knows where the hell Cary, North Carolina is, but it's adjacent to Raleigh. So that's where we are.
Everybody knows where Cary, North Carolina is. It's in Cary, North Carolina.
Yeah, exactly. And Harold, it's not just me that's here. Nate is here also. He is 10 feet that way. So we're in the store together. Yep. we're in here together. So we
can't believe they let you two hooligans in there.
Yeah, no kidding. We had to separate slightly just because there's a little bit of echo between the two headsets right too close to each other. Yes, east of Denton. So
that's funny because I'm east of Denton, Texas.
Yeah.
Denton's a pretty popular name, huh?
Yeah. Wait, east? Aren't you a little
East.
south of Denton?
A little slightly south, but south. I mean, slightly south, but definitely east of Denton.
Yeah.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
where I'm at.
So yeah,
Well,
good. Yeah.
no, I was going to say you're absolutely right about some of those people, especially the ones you were talking about from GMT games, because they had put out a notification. This was last year, looking for playtesters to help with a game, and it was a Caesar era game. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it was one of Ray's games, and I put it out like, "Hey, I'm happy to help. Let me know what I can do." And then talking to the guy, I found out that he lived right up the road. So we came up here to Gamers Armory. We sat down. He taught me the game, how it all worked. I took home a prototype of it back to the wife. We went through some play testing of it, filmed a handful of videos, and then I was able to meet back up with him, give him his prototype back. Didn't have to mail anything, didn't have to arrange anything else. So it was like, hey, when can you swing by Gamers Armory? Great. I loved it. I didn't know that there were that many people who were in this area that were into wargaming.
Yeah. I think, was that Time of Crisis? Was that the game?
I think so. The card one.
Yeah, I think that.
Yeah, it was a big square grid, and each one of the cards represented something, and the cards were numbered and colored for the different factions. Yeah. Do you remember which one I'm talking about?
I think that's Time of Crisis, but don't hold me to that. So
deck building, that kind of deck building or deck deconstruction, wasn't it? I think it was, or something like that.
It was more of an area control, but it was an odd area control. Certain cards could take control, but you were wanting to control the layout of the board by having your cards placed in certain places, and they would interact with each other depending on their number, their color, their sign, because some represented the aristocracy, some represented the military, peasants, stuff like that. And then there were a few cards that represented like random events, and then there was actually a solitaire deck as well for the game.
Thanks.
Yeah, Jeff mentioned we got a major winter storm coming. Yeah, the real fun part of this is going to be the Sunday afternoon happy hour with Gary at the close of the convention, because there's a very real chance we're going to have some power outages around here.
Yeah.
So you think the internet coverage can be a little spotty right now? Yeah, wait till that storm blows through, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to affect everybody. We're even going to get called down. It's going to be in the, I think, the 20s with the wind chill tomorrow afternoon, and we may have some snow flurries, things like that. And I think it was last weekend. It was kind of trippy because I told my wife, I says, you got to be careful because the temperature is going to drop. She's like, I don't like cold. Well, it went from like 71 degrees down to like, I think we had a 24-degree temperature drop in 1 hour. Yeah, and then by the evening, I was off doing a hockey game, and it was like 18 degrees out. I was loving it, but she was like, I'm not going outside. This is too cold. I'm like, this is great.
That's crazy. So so I don't have YouTube going. Where are we on viewers at the moment?
Well, we got about 22 viewers right now. Okay. And I've made the announcement earlier in the Discord. So I didn't make any announcements anywhere else. This is primarily for the ACDC crowd. And I don't know if you've announced it anywhere else on Twitter or on the Armchair Dragoons site.
It's definitely been announced through the Dragoons site and the Dragoons Twitter feed that the convention's going on. So, ideally we want folks to come join us at the convention and then pop into the show. But, you know, the talk shows, if other folks sort of cruise by and happen to watch the talk show without joining the rest of the convention, that's their loss. But, we'll forgive them for it.
Well, it looks like we've got the people in the lock and load stuff right now. We've got World of War 85 and Point Blank. And we've also got people in Judean Hammer. And Wargame Boot Camp has some people in there, and that'll just kind of bounce up and down throughout the evening. It's the first night, so a lot of people are still traveling home from work, which we understand, but we tried to make it early so it wasn't too late, because we do have events the rest of the evening. And then of course Saturday and Sunday there'll be more events. We've got plenty of talk shows, we've got plenty of demos, and you've also got some what do you call those, seminars as well that we'll be doing. So I think it's going to be a pretty packed weekend. Well,
one of the things we wanted to try to do with some of the times, and one of the reasons why we had events starting at like 2:00 in the afternoon East Coast U.S. time, is we were hoping to get some of the European folks a little more involved with the convention. We were hoping to pick up somebody. Actually, the lock and load tactical events all had to move to much earlier in the day. Some of them were scheduled to be later in the day. We had to move them because the GM is actually stuck in Europe right now, can't get on a plane because of COVID stuff. So we had to move him to a little earlier. Otherwise, he was going to be up at 2:00 in the morning trying to GM games, and that wasn't going to be cool. So we moved them all to earlier, and so that's why, like, tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. East Coast U.S. time, we've got the first of the Kriegspiel sessions going in the morning, because we were hoping to pick up some of the European players. I don't know how many of the folks that are here are coming from Europe. I imagine there probably aren't a ton of them in the, watching the YouTube stream right now because it's midnight for them.
Yeah.
But we're hoping to pick up some of those gamers. So, you mentioned, so what do we got? We got World at War 85 going right now, and we've got Point Blank going right now. And I know Nate has played the hell out of some Point Blank over the year. So, the lock and load guys are always big supporters of the convention, and we love them for it. Judean Hammer is one of the games from Catastrophe Games. They are a new company on the scene. We actually, the Dragoons have known Tim, who's the guy that runs the company. We've known him for a couple of years. He's been a regular player in our events at Origins over the years. And so Tim started his own company 2 years ago or so, right in the middle of a pandemic, right? But Judean Hammer is one of his first games. He's the guy that's done Judean Hammer, the USS Laffy game. He's got a Gallipoli game and just finished Zermatt, which is the counterinsurgency in Afghanistan.
Yeah, that's one I want to check out.
Yep, that one's come out through Kickstarter. One of the Dragoons out in Arizona actually got a pre-press copy of that. So we did do a little bit of like unboxing preview coverage of it a couple of months ago, but we're all looking forward to that Kickstarter finally showing up. And Tim is going to be on Gary's show tomorrow with kind of a welcome to Catastrophe Games, sort of introducing folks to the company. And we've got a couple of their events set up this weekend for folks to give them a try. So we really want to try and bring attention to those smaller companies, those newer companies, the folks that we want people to be able to discover cool new games. And so that's Tim is right in the wheelhouse, the kind of folks that we want to showcase at an event like this.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And what do you got planned, Nate?
I wanted to interject because he's talking about something that's right on point with something that I actually jumped into earlier. There was a game that was just completed on Kickstarter called Panzer Kampf, Clash of Arms, I believe it is. And Stuka Joe covered it. And I think Bonding with Board Games covered it as well. They did a couple of prototype videos for it. And there's a Kickstarter that I had missed, like just flat out missed. It's by Trafalgar Editions Games. And I did a quick video on it. Kickstarter's worth checking out. The game looks awesome. It's got for those of you who are into miniatures, because I do like miniatures, but it's got tiny little tank miniatures in it. It's World War II, so it's got T-34s, Tigers, Su-76, Panzer IVs, all that good stuff with it. And the game's not overly expensive. 40 euros, what is that, like 50 US, somewhere around there, cost-wise. And it looks excellent. One of those that is easy to pick up and play, kind of about as deep as something like Bolt Action, but definitely a lot of fun, deep gameplay that you can really enjoy. No guaranteed like solitaire component to it like I like, but there's no hidden information either. So there's no reason you can't just two-hand the game. So it was one that I wanted to at least toss a good word out for. I literally put the video up on it as I was walking out the door to come here. So you can check out mine and definitely check out Stuka Joe's because he did a real good example of play, how the game works, all that good stuff. And they are doing a late pledge backers thing right now. So if you missed it like I did and you want to jump into it, you still can actually do so.
Oh, nice. Outstanding.
Well, that is exactly what it is.
There you go. Tank Duel in 3D. So yeah, I'll check that one out because tanks, obviously it's going to be interesting. And then one of the discussions we're going to have tomorrow, I'm going to have an interview with James Buckley from Phalanx, and I just did a preview for Purple Haze, and we'll be talking about that game as well. And then he'll be doing a demo from the tabletop simulator demo that they have. He'll be doing that in the Discord. And I think,
what were your thoughts on Purple Haze?
You didn't watch the video.
I haven't had a chance to.
Way
yet.
to support me, bro.
I love you,
Making his
man.
own.
I like it. It's got potential. There's some things I pointed out in the video. There are other things I didn't point out in the video. I kind of added some thoughts to the thread on the YouTube page, but as it stands right now, it's really just a straight narrative game. You have your 6 troops that you can use. You have they have down 6 Marines. One's a medic. I corrected him and said, no, nomenclature is it's not a medic, it's corpsman. There's the Marine Corps. We use Navy corpsmen, all that stuff. I explained that to them. They did not know that, and that's fine. They can correct that. But they got their 6 guys, which is basically either way you want to look at, either half squad or a glorified fire team. And what you're doing is you're moving from grid to grid, and then you have terrain in the grid, and based on the terrain, that will change the time, the energy that you use to move, and also the threat goes up every time you move. And that should be the case. Then when you get into combat, once you get past a certain threshold, you get into combat, or a story trigger may create combat, an encounter may create combat. The combat is where I think it's good, but it needs some work. It's pretty straightforward. All 6 guys will engage, and you have to kill up to 6 enemy. You have the opportunity of everybody engaging. There's some thought process because the initiative track goes back and forth, and if you can work it in certain ways, you can kind of you can gain a little bit of momentum and go more than once. So it's kind of like a miniature way of modeling the OODA loop a little bit. So you can kind of try to get inside the decision space of the enemy, which I like. But the thing I think is a little gamey is you have only 2 options to shoot: single shot or mag dump, and you get more dice for a mag dump. I think it would be a lot better if they use like burst mode as well as, a full mag dump. Maybe make an interim track where you get 5 dice for doing a mag dump. You get maybe 4 of them per mag. We're figuring it's 20 round mags, I guess, at this point, before they introduce the 30 rounds. Excuse me. So you have that. Was
burst mode even available on the?
No, I'm talking about
time?
controlled bursts by yourself with the Mark 1 trigger finger. Disciplined fire is what I would call it.
Wait, they actually taught Marines how to do that?
Of course they did. Hey, single shot, baby. Don't waste ammo. No spray and pray. We ain't the Army. But
I have. When you get done talking Purple Haze, I've got a good machine gunner story for you.
Nice. But and there's different weapons. I didn't get into the M60s and the support weapons like the mortars and things like that. But one of the thoughts I had with it was you have 6 guys, like I said. Once you're done with your entire round, the combat's over. No, I think they're missing a giant opportunity here. You have up to 6 enemies, and you may end up leaving like 2 of them on the board. Well, those guys take off. At the end of the 6 rounds, or at the end of this, the engagement where all 6 Marines have gone, have a disengagement option where you roll dice and the VC disengage, say, if it's successful. Then you have the opportunity to pursue them. And if you don't pursue them, then it should add a modifier later as you move through each of the hexes, through each of the grids. It should increase your threat by 1. So that way, hey, these guys bailed out. And they went and told their local elder or whoever, they got on a radio or they messaged someone. They let other VC know you're in the area. So now the threat increases, stuff like that. So it gives you an incentive to go after them. And at the same time, it also gives, presents a greater threat. So
it sounds like kind of like the combat's kind of abstracted, kind of like you would see in something like the Hunters or Tank Duel, something along those lines.
It is. You do have some decisions as far as what weapons or equipment to use. You can use grenades. You can use smoke. And if you use smoke, you can pop smoke. It'll move the initiative more towards your area, than it does, or more towards your end of the initiative track than it does towards the VC. Because every weapon has an initiative that goes back and forth, an initiative number that goes back and forth. And
sounds like the military equivalent of a hex crawl.
Kind of. But what I would like to see them do is kind of add tactics for the Marines. They don't have that. They have tactics for the VC, which is cool, but they don't have tactics for the Marines. They should allow you to do something like, hey, we're going to allow 2 Marines to work here. You're going to fire. I'm going to toss a smoke out, so that way when you lose initiative because you just fired a burst or you fired full auto, well, you throw a smoke and it brings it a little bit back towards your area, maybe even keeps it in your area so you can re-engage someone else.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that they can do here to build the initiative up, not the initiative, but build out the game a lot more. There's more development to be done, but Not sure exactly if they've thought along those same lines or not, but I think there's potential for a lot more to the game.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Sounds cool. The yeah, so I like Heflo's thing there about add a bonus mode for the 6 troopers and the predator.
What's
You're
that?
hunting Heflo threw a comment in there that said add a bonus mode, 6 troopers and you're chasing a predator.
Oh, there you go. That'd be cool. See, the thing about it is
Now you're in the movies.
you know, there is the thing I like about this. Everyone, of course, immediately goes, "This is like Ambush." It's not. It's Ambush there was much more war game to it than this one has. This is more abstract, but you can still have the abstraction and have more war game elements to this game, because right now it's a management type of game. You're managing your stamina, you're managing your time and all that stuff. You can I think there's a lot of room to develop this into a more of a war game format. So hopefully they'll be open to those ideas and they'll explore those and see how it works in the game.
Yeah, but Ambush was also static, right? You know what I'm saying? Like there was no chance for random events in Ambush. So unless Purple Haze plays the same way, where there's no possibility that anything different's going to happen, then it's not the same as Ambush.
Well,
that was
there's
one of the biggest defining features for Ambush, is the fact that no matter what, when you stepped in Hex A12,
Yeah.
whatever happened in A12 is always going to happen in A12. You know what I'm saying?
This one has branching paragraphs, and this is going to be more abstract because you're just moving grid to grid. You're not moving any hexes. The movement is very abstract. So there, with the branching paragraphs, you can actually go different ways depending on times you arrive at objectives, things like that. So there's definitely ways that you can replay the mission and have different outcomes and have different paths to follow, which is cool. And then of course there's little things called keywords that also happen. Like if you get into an engagement and something happens, it says, note this keyword. So when you get to another paragraph, if that keyword is used, and it'll tell you, hey, ignore this paragraph you're reading now, go to this paragraph instead, because it kind of like branches again further off, which is pretty neat.
You realize now nobody has to show up for the Purple Haze demo tomorrow, right?
Oh no, there's a lot more. I was just saying my ideas. This is just the development ideas that I was coming up with as I was playing. I was like, wow, my brain was just like cranking out all these ideas. And this is probably like maybe a third of the things I thought about. Because when I get into it, when my brain starts working on something like this, the development side starts going on. I'm like, oh, write notes. We'll write some more notes.
Yeah, you just stick with it. So no, that sounds pretty cool. So tomorrow you've got the Buckley interview, we've got the Purple Haze demo. You also have an interview with the guys doing the global war game, and then and then Bruce. You've got Bruce again.
Yep, a little game called Iron Armor. Don't know if you guys have heard of it or not.
If I were doing this from my office, I could pull my copy off the shelf of the original one.
Nice.
But no, we're not doing this because we're at the store. So yeah, tomorrow, just on the talk show circuit, we've got exactly. So just on the talk show circuit tomorrow, Moe's got a pretty full day between Purple Haze, Global War, and Iron Armor. And then Gary's got the guys from Song for War, and he's also got Tim from Catastrophe Games. So Gary's got a couple of them tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, we've also got, we've called it sort of the Dragoons keynote. It's mainly me talking some about upcoming plans for the Dragoons over the course of the next year. We'll go into a little more detail about that local game store spotlight that we talked about right at the top of the show. I'll go into a little more detail about that, how folks can get involved with that and show off their own local war game stores. And then late night, we've just got the open mic, open bar kind of thing that we're going to do. And
we'll make it open mic because people will be singing. It'll be pretty awful.
Well, it depends on how much of the open bar will determine the open mic part of it. Originally, we were going to do that through StreamYard, but I think Moe, cooler heads prevailed. Moe said, let's just stick that all in Discord where all kinds of folks can hop on and chat and talk and throw video on if they need to or whatever. And so I think we're just going to do that one in Discord and just sort of have a fun open chat show tomorrow evening. But you mentioned the seminars. So we've got 5 one-hour presentations tomorrow. 4 of them are student projects, student showcases. We've folks that know the Georgetown University Wargame Society, or heard us talk about Goose in the past. And so the Goose has Georgetown has a game design class in one of their master's programs, and so they've got students that the end result of that class is they design a game. And we've got two of those groups from this past semester that are going to present their games tomorrow. I'm going to talk about, here's what we designed, here's the research we did, here's how we did it. And then similar to that, out at Fort Leavenworth at the, no, there is not this year. We didn't have a good way, we still haven't figured out a good way to do that virtually. So rather than half-ass it, we just didn't do one this time around until we figure out a good way to do it. Two of the other seminars are also game design projects coming from the U.S. Army Command General Staff College. So we've got actual serving active duty officers who are there for their professional education that are going to be presenting their game designs that they did as part of their classwork out there. Sandwiched in between there, we've got Jim Orbineth, who's a history professor, is going to do a talk about Battle of Kharkov. But yeah, we've got a bunch of student game design presentations tomorrow that we thought would be kind of cool for folks to check out. And so, yeah, you can get class credit for designing games. Who knew? You know?
Nice.
So
nice.
So yeah, that should be,
might be a reason to go back to school, right?
Yeah, well, you gotta either go to Georgetown or Leavenworth, Kansas for it. So
yeah, no, I don't see me going to either one of those, but maybe online. Maybe doing online.
Well, Mo, you've been to Leavenworth before, haven't you?
No, I'm proud to say I've never been to Leavenworth, and I know what you mean by that.
Hold up. I think Brant still owes us a machine gun story.
Yes.
Because I just remembered that. What were you talking about with that?
Okay, so it's been over 20 years now, but when I first got off active duty, I was in the Army National Guard out in California. I left active duty from Fort Irwin, and I stayed out in California. And in the tank battalion that I was in out there in California, it has since been inactivated as a part of some changes in the Guard. But it was 149 Armor out there, first of 149 Armor, which is actually one of the units that traces its lineage back to the guys that were on Corregidor. We had our battalion was one of the ones that survived the Bataan Death March, and we used to, at our dining in, we used to have some of the Bataan survivors come to the dining in, which was really kind of cool. It's pretty humbling to have those dudes there. One of the more famous pictures from the Vietnam War protests was up at Cal Berkeley, where there's this, doe-eyed little blonde chick with a ring of daisies on her head, and she's putting flowers in the gun barrels of the National Guard guys that are standing there looking all imperious and everything. That lady, she left college, grew up, got married, whatever. Her adopted son was actually in the scout platoon in that tank battalion for a number of years, and he was one of the guys that was assigned for one of the crew serve weapons teams in that scout platoon. This is back when they used to have M60s mounted on Jeeps, right? It was just machine gun Jeeps for your scout platoon. Yep. I used to go out the range, and I actually met the guy after he had left the Guard. He had come back for one of the dining ins. He had retired from the National Guard at that point, but hadn't been out for very long. One of the other training NCOs was telling me about this dude. They used to go to the range. This guy with an M60 machine gun was good enough to control like 3 and 4 round bursts with an M60 machine gun, that he basically treated it almost like a sniper rifle. I mean, he was hitting targets at 200, 300 meters with 2 and 3 round bursts with an M60 machine gun. If you've ever fired an M60 machine gun, you know what a son of a bitch that is to do. But this guy was that good at it. And his mom is famous for being on all these Vietnam anti-war protest posters for being the flower girl that was putting daisies in gun barrels of National Guard guys on the Berkeley campus. It's just strange where people take you in life.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. he was a sniper. He was the equivalent of a sniper with an M60 machine gun. He was that kind of good. And the active duty evaluators used to always ding him for not, because, with a machine gun, the standard is you're supposed to hit your target and then spray a burst, a certain amount of space on either side as part of your
suppression.
Yeah, that's the standard way you're supposed to fire a machine gun, and he wouldn't do it. He's like, well, I hit the target. The target's down. It only took me 3 rounds to do it. Why do I have to keep using ammo?
Because there's more.
Yeah, the evaluators kept getting mad at him for not following the standard. And he's like, but I hit the target.
Well,
So,
yeah, I mean, they are right. He's right and they're right. He's right because he hit the present target, but he wasn't understanding the idea. It's a suppression weapon. It's to keep
yeah,
everybody's head down
exactly.
while everybody else moves. You're
Yeah.
the base of fire. They're the movement element.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
suppression and precision sound kind of similar. Maybe he was thinking along those
Yeah.
lines.
Yeah, I mean, it's
There you
just
go.
that he has to remember that, okay, you put the one guy down, it's like smoking one guy, but you have to keep the other 4 or 5 guys down, keep their heads down as well. So,
I don't know.
As a guy who spent, I was going to say, as a guy who spent any number of years as a battalion S2, I'm used to the scout platoon ignoring anything they tell you anyway. So the fact that this guy was in the scout platoon doesn't surprise me that he was just ignoring folks. So
I don't know. The only thing I could think about while he was talking about that machine gun story is I just kept having that same image of being at the training range and doing grenades. And Mo, you probably remember this. I'm sure Brant probably experienced this as well, where you're in that little ditch and they've got the hole down there where they could kick the grenade in if you dropped it.
the grenade sump,
And yeah, and none of our guys dropped their grenade, but it seemed like so many of them had this dumb idea because we had this wooden barricade, and you would chuck your grenade and then duck down behind the barricade, or at least that's what you were supposed to do. But so many of these guys would chuck their grenade and then they would grab the edge of the barricade and pull themselves up because
Look
they
up.
wanted to watch it explode.
Exactly.
And all the instructors were constantly yanking the guys, and they ended up having to stop the class at one point, and they were like, "Do not poke your head above the barricade to watch the grenade go off." They're like, "No, just get down and stay down. We're not here so you guys can have like a little show. That's not how this works." They're getting
It's
so
like
pissed
I
off.
want to see that hate and discontent that I just tossed down range. I want to see what it does, but you forget you have that bunker with the bulletproof glass that you can go check it out from as well.
exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. The grenade range at Fort Bragg that we did ours at, you had this little elevated, like you said, the bunker with the giant bulletproof glass that you could watch
Yep.
everybody else's grenades blow up. You just didn't get to watch yours. The folks that were doing ours, Nate, you're talking about they would pull you back down off the wall. They weren't pulling anybody off the wall. They were tackling you. Like they were just linebackering you to the ground. And I think, quite frankly, they enjoyed it a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, I mean, when you have that bunker, not only get to see it, but you get to feel it too, because you get the little splinters of the shrapnel that'll hit. Because even though the max effective range is like 15 meters, it's still going to fly out, whatever, 50 meters away, whatever that is from the impact area. So you'll feel it. I mean, you'll still hear, the pings off the glass and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm going to unplug from the wall here real quick, and we're going to take a walk around the store.
We're going to take a little walk around. So we're going live. Not only are we going live, but we're going to be untethered, live without a net.
We're going to see how well this works. I'm going to see if we can do it such that we don't lose too much resolution.
Just go slow.
Now, while I'm walking around, though, I got to have the mask on, so I hope this doesn't impact the audio too much.
Nah,
So,
sounds good. Just look like a bandit now.
See what we can do here. So, all right, there's the mask. Schrodinger's smile, right?
There you go.
All right, he's ready to rob. He's good.
So we're going to start off here. This is the wall of ASL, and some folks have seen me post these pictures before, but there's stuff that kind of comes and goes. So this is all ASL stuff here. And here's the key thing: like here are your starter kits, right? This is all the stuff MMP sells: Beyond Valor, Red Factories, Rising Sun. There's the ASL Oktoberfest kind of stuff. But here's where we get into some of the really fun stuff. These are all the Schwerpunkt things that are published from the Tampa ASL group, right? And there's a whole row of these things. Down below, we've got all the Rally Point stuff from the Tampa ASL group. These are all third-party things. There's the Quick Sixes, the different scenario packs that come out of Canada, the Eastside Gamers stuff. This is all third-party stuff coming from other ASL publishers that are not MMP. This is one of the things that Scott's always been really big on, is that if you can get it for ASL, he wanted to be able to carry it here. One of the things they don't have on the wall here, the new Prorakova historical ASL set is now shipping. And I don't see it on the wall here. There's all the winter offensive bonus packs. Here's some more third-party stuff down below. The new Prorakova set is in and they are shipping it from here, but they don't have it on the wall up here like I thought they would. John Longshore, this is in Cary, North Carolina. Gamersarmory.com. Y'all can look it up and see. So the way they've got the wargame shelves in the store organized here is they've got them loosely chronological going up. We're actually going to go backwards through time just because of where I'm standing. So this is World War II and modern stuff, and you can see tons of GMT stuff. We get into the Cold War, further down into the modern stuff. And this is just all on the rack. Like, you walk in here, grab your copy of MBT, and off you go. One of the other things that's cool about Gamers Armory, they're one of the very few stores out there that actually carries Hollandspiel stuff on the shelf. So you can actually walk in and pick up Hollandspiel stuff here. That's pretty rare. As you guys know, Hollandspiel is a print-on-demand company. So this is all World War II stuff here. So you see, OCS stuff at the top, tons of GMT stuff as you work your way down. And then Compass stuff over in the corner. The one thing they don't have here is they don't have a bunch of lock and load stuff. I don't know where they stand in trying to get lock and load stuff stocked here. I know they've been working on it for a while. I just don't know where it is at the moment. Hollow Legions was in that spot right there. I saw somebody ask. It was in that spot. So more World War II stuff. And so you can see, again, just all on the shelves here. You want a copy of Greatest Day? We can do it. All $275 of it. So, but yeah, it's here, it's on the shelf. One of the other things Gamers Armory does is pretty much everything straight 10% off MSRP. They also have a frequent buyer program that, Nate, do you remember, is it 100, 150 bucks?
It's 100.
100 bucks, and then you get a $10 discount next time around. Civil War stuff. So you can see there's a ton of the MMP Civil War stuff here, and you work your way on down. GMT stuff. We got some of the World War I and interwar things down towards the bottom. But again, this is on the shelf. This isn't you have to special order it. They're not doing a special event just because we happen to be in town. This is normal, right? This is Tuesday. You come in here and here it all is. There's Devil Dogs, Moe. There you go.
Hoorah. Love it.
Get your Marines in there. We got some Versailles going on. Again, we're working backwards through time here. So now we're into Age of Gunpowder, Napoleonics, American Revolution. We got Labatt games on the shelf here. So if Labatt is your thing, we got them on the shelf.
Scroll up right there. You see Napoleon's Imperium. That one.
Did you say
I really like that one. No, it said scroll up. That one. Yeah, I really like that one. Recommend.
Fair enough. I haven't played it, but I know people that will. There we go with the magazines. And then there's the ancient stuff. Again, Hollandspiel's on the shelf here. In the past, they've had some stuff from White Dog Games on the shelf. I'm not seeing any right now. They may just be out at the moment. As we work our way through here, the Triangle area has a huge minis gaming community. There's actually another store in town that's wall-to-wall mini stuff. Gamers Armory's got a bunch of the Warhammer 40K stuff down here. There's a bunch of the Age of Sigmar stuff. And then, where are we going? If you're into Kill Team, more Age of Sigmar stuff, a bunch of the starter kits. There's a whole wall of paint stuff behind me as well. But then here's a lot of the Battletech and X-Wing and Armada things as well. So big minis community here in town, and these guys do support that. Where Nate is sitting, he's actually sitting at one of the terrain tables that they use for the minis games here. We're going to wave at Mike quick. Mike, say hi. Hi. So Mike is is the store manager here, and was a guy crazy enough to let us do this for the second time now.
Yeah, tell him we said it. Hi and thank you for letting us broadcast from the store.
Moe is saying hi and thank you. So since I got the earpiece on, he's not going to hear you. So most of the front end of the store here is a lot of your normal Euro games, kind of the stuff you would expect to see, the Tickets to Ride and Small Worlds and Twilight Imperiums. The new release shelf, one of the other nice things about the new release shelf, they don't necessarily separate out the wargame stuff. They'll throw it on the new release shelf just like everything else. So we've got T2K on the shelf. For those of you that don't know, we do have a T2K session tomorrow morning. The first time we've ever done a role-playing game at the ACDC. But Twilight 2000 kind of fits our shtick of, military-themed wargaming kind of stuff. So we've
Yeah,
got
and I'm bummed that
T2K.
I'm not going to be able to join in because I want to check that out. I definitely want to start playing that.
Sorry. At some point we got to get it in there. We got to get it on the schedule, and you're the guy that volunteered for like 9 talk shows. So
hey, someone's got to do it.
Yeah. The front end of all this is a lot of wargaming stuff, or a lot of the role-playing stuff. So we've got a ton of the RPG stuff up here. All your usual D&D Pathfinder kind of things. There's some more. There's the Starfinder stuff, some of the battle maps. So I'm not going to go in great detail through a lot of the Eurogame shelves. It's the same kind of stuff you guys can find at all the other stores that you're used to going to. Really, we kind of wanted to show off the wargame area, and I think we've done that quite a bit here. So if folks have something else they want to see up close from the wargame stuff, say something. I can walk over there quick. Otherwise, I'm going to sit back down and let Nate tell some more stories here for a second. So
there you go. Over to you, Nate.
I was going to say, I was thrilled just to find a place that actually had war games like on the shelf and like dedicated shelves to war games, because so many of the stores in this area, they don't have that. The other one that's closest to here has a handful of war games, but they're spread through because all their games are organized alphabetically and not by type, which is kind of a pain in the butt. So you can't go. I mean, they have miniatures maybe separated out, but for the rest, like the main box games, they're all just sorted by alphabet, and you have to hope you might stumble across a war game here or there. And I don't think Atomic Empire carries any. Am I right on that, Brent? Or do they have maybe a little bit?
Oh, over the years, they've had a couple of GMT things on the shelf here and there. They can get GMT stuff for you if you want to order from them. Because I had ordered something from them once years ago before this place was even open. So, it tells you how long ago it was. So they can get GMT stuff, but they don't normally stock a lot of it as a matter of course. That said, would they have something like Leaping Lemmings or Dominant Species or Twilight Struggle on the shelf? Yeah, they might. They might well. But not normally. The other store that I was referencing that doesn't have or that does wargame like stuff is Hangar 18 Hobbies. That's also here in Cary. They have a smaller game room. They are very minis focused in large part because half the store is models, and so whether it's remote controlled airplanes or like 1/32 scale tank models and stuff, it's much more of a model minis crafting kind of military themed store. But they do carry some war game stuff as well. They have some GMT stuff, but they have a ton of the minis war game stuff. They got entire shelves full of nothing but bolt action or black powder stuff or a giant wall of BattleTech and another, an even bigger wall of Warhammer stuff than we've got here. So again, heavy minis community in this area. The Triangle Simulation Society has several meetups throughout the year, usually at least one a month, where they like rent out a local VFW or something and do a game day. But they used to do 2 small conventions each year, one in the spring, one in the fall, and there would be an occasional tabletop game in there, but a board game. But by and large, it was all minis war games, and some of those scenarios and the scenery and terrain setups were really, really good. They had a Sky Galleons of Mars game one year, which is gorgeous. It's pretty sweet. I did see a question pop up asking about the T2K game tomorrow. It's the Foundry VTT that they're going to be using. So
yeah, it's I was figuring, and the thing with the Foundry, if I remember correctly, is the GM has to have a license. The participants don't. They'll be able to join in on the GM's license. So there should not be anything that
that's what
they
I
would be able to. Yeah. There's nothing required, no purchase required to be part of it.
Do you need a license to play the game?
No, that's what the GM gets the license. Whoever has like if you backed the T2K, you'll
The
have the
GM
license
needs the
for that.
license to use virtual tabletop.
Yes, and then they can invite people in for no license at
Yeah.
all. So the GM will have the license because everybody who backed T2K, if I remember correctly, got the mod for Twilight 2000 because I had that and I already had the module for because I had already bought the license and I had the module for Aliens, which is the other RPG they did.
Yeah. Yeah, and the game tomorrow morning is a teaching game. It is designed to teach people how the new T2K system works with the newly redone free league rules. So that's it. There's no experience expected of those players. So
Yeah, it should be
again,
pretty
look,
cool.
we're trying something different. You know, Twilight 2000 fits that theme of kind of the military war game theme that we're after, and so we decided to give it a try since it is a new game out there. We wanted to give it a whirl and see. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, all right, you know, we learned, don't do that again. But it's one of the ones that's filled up pretty quickly. So we've got a bunch of players that are looking forward to it. And the GM that's doing it was actually one of the guys that helped roll the game out at Gen Con this past year.
Nice.
So
Free League does a great job with their RPG stuff. So I expect it should be pretty entertaining for everybody who's checking it out. Probably most people will end up going and buying it if they don't already have it.
They got copies here. You can swing by and pick them
I
up.
saw that actually when I walked in. I saw a couple of copies sitting there, and I'm trying to justify myself a reason to get one. And I'm like, but I solo everything. I'm like, I don't think I can solo that. Like, I gotta
here's
find a
the
way.
deal. Kev has a copy. I have a copy. We're planning on doing T2K, so you might want to at least get the base rules, the core rule book.
Okay. Well, then you have just given me the justification I need. Every time I come in this place, I'm like, okay, I got to come up with a reason to get something, and then I have to make a deal with the wife, and then she gets some shoes or something.
You can just tell your wife the same thing.
Hey, Mike, we're selling more stuff for you. Mike said, keep it up.
Yeah.
And do they have an online component?
She's real good to me.
There you go. Do they have an online component in case anybody wants to buy something that they see at that store?
Gamersarmory.com does have a web shop, and it's a little weird. There are times when there are things on the web shop that they don't have in the store because they've got deals to direct ship from some of the publishers, especially the ASL stuff. There are other times where there's stuff on the shelf here that's not showing up in the web store because they only got a couple of copies of it. They want to be able to sell them to the local audience before, you know, necessarily throwing them out there on the web shop. One thing that is cool is that the prices are consistent between web versus in store, so you're still getting 10% off MSRP on everything, even through the web shop. So yeah,
excellent. So you can go there, gamersarmory.com, as Brent was saying, and you can go to the online shop. I'm on it right now, just checking it out, what they've got here, and anything that you saw in the store that maybe your FLGS doesn't have, you can go ahead and place an order with them right now, even if you want to. And tell them that we sent you.
Yeah, and if you're an ASL person, this is definitely a story you should get to know because of the depth and breadth of the things that Scott makes sure that they stock here. And again, that was the bread and butter that launched Gamers Armory as an online store originally when Scott was running this out of his garage 15, 20 years ago. Was his original intent was, you know, if it's in print and it's from ASL, we're going to have it in stock. And that's why he cut deals with like the dudes down in Tampa or the Canadian ASL group that does the quick 6 games, whatever. If it's available for ASL, Scott wants to be able to sell it. And he does a really significant business with that. So look, I'm not a big ASL player. It's not my thing. That's fine. For those of you that love it, great, go do it. This is one of the places that can help feed that addiction for you. And one of the things like Tuesday Newsday, Gamers Armory is one of the sites that we check every week as a part of Tuesday Newsday, looking for what are those new things that are showing up, because things like the upcoming Prokhorovka game that the historical ASL set's got like this giant, it's got a bed sheet sized map in it, as well as, you know, all the different counters and everything. The only place that we've seen it for sale anywhere online is Gamers Armory. So, you know, we're in the newly released this week section. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. Hey, this one's finally shipping. Go here to get it. So
nice.
So yeah.
See, my thing, I'm with you, Brant. I have never gotten into it, but I avoid it because I think that it's going to be a rabbit hole that I'll never get myself out of. I know that like I'll get one, I'll like it, and then I'll want to have all of them. And you can see how big that shelf is. It'll
Yeah.
never end. I couldn't afford it. Not that and all the other war games I want. I'd have to sell a kid or two to
Yeah.
make this work. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it.
You wouldn't have enough time to play anything but. So
Yeah, then it would be, hey, this is Gimpy's ASL channel. You would not be playing anything else at that point. Because you
Dude,
need
I
to
saw
be able to
the
study a rule book that thick.
yeah.
I've had a couple of chances to get the solitaire ASL module. You know, they got one of those.
Yeah.
And each time I had to like keep slapping myself like, don't do it, don't do it. Don't, she'll get mad. You'll pay for it later. Don't do it. Just let that one go. I have to avoid it. You have to know like it's kind of like an alcoholic who knows that they need to avoid the bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's one of those games
absolutely.
I've checked out before. I've played it in the past, and I was just that's why I always make the joke when it comes to ASL. It's like, you know, it's just one of those games that is okay. I want to move my guy out of the building I'm in, get him across the road here into the other building. And it's like, well, first off, I've got to roll to see if I trip on the threshold on the way out the door. And then I've got to roll to see if I can run down the gravel in the driveway. And then I have to roll to see if I slip on the dew that's on the grass. Depending on the time of day and the time of year, it might be, you know, different amounts of dew. And it's like, you know what, that's just, it's kind of, and people laugh because it's true and, you know, silly at the same time, you know, and it's like, I don't need that. I want to shoot stuff. I don't need to go and, okay, does my guy have acid indigestion today? I mean, I don't need to know that. I don't care. But great for the people who do.
Yeah. Of the squad level. So one of the big advantages of ASL, of course, is just, you know, the breadth of scenarios available.
Mhm.
It's hard to find a battle in World War II that doesn't have at least one scenario for it
True.
somewhere. My personal preference has been the Lockmo tactical system, in part because the modern component to it, the stuff from the Falklands forward, not even the Vietnam era stuff, but from the Falklands forward is the area that I'm much more interested in.
Yep.
And so I don't have a copy of the current Falklands game. I've got the older expansion from the previous incarnation of the company, but I do have Day of Heroes and Heroes Against the Red Star, and I've got the newer ones. That's just my preference for the genre
Same.
play.
Yeah,
And
I
so-
prefer modern.
Yeah, so I adopted Lockamo Tactical simply because it feeds that modern combat addiction for me, not because there's necessarily anything wrong with ASL. They're both fine game systems.
Mhm.
There's personal preference one way or the other.
Sure.
I just don't want people to think we're slagging on ASL just because we like making fun of the whole.
Oh no, no. Even ASL people make the same jokes.
Yeah. But for me, the sticking point is with Lockamo Tactical, I can do modern era stuff much easier than I can some of the older stuff. So.
No one really does do modern, really, outside of them. And you know, I think does Avalanche Press with Brian Patterson, I think, is in the audience right now. He'll be able to say, do they do modern stuff for the Panzer Grenadier?
They get up through like 1967 in Israel. There was one thing I forgot to show off this time that I needed to walk over here to do. So this is the terrain room for the minis terrain stuff that they've got here. Try and give you all a decent sense of this. This is all terrain that you can just come in here and check out and use for your different games. The lighting kind of sucks in here. Let me try and stand a little further away. So this is all different terrain that you can grab. They've got boxes full of, these are all like the trees and stuff. Trees, road layouts and things, but tons of ruined buildings and all kinds of different scenery. And there are all the terrain boards. These are these, I mean, you can see me standing next to them. They're as tall as I am. And there's 6 in this stack and 5 in that stack, and there's at least 1 out on the table that Gimpy's sitting at. So this is, you know, this is just a giant room full of nothing but wargame terrain that you can use for all of your different games.
And the one thing to make sure is Gimpy knows that it's not edible. It's terrain. It's not cookies that he's supposed to be eating.
You will have to talk to him about that. He had to step away for just a second, so he'll be back in a sec. I think he had a phone call come in. from home. But yeah, I totally meant to walk over there and show you guys that. Forgot about it.
So that's why Gimpy's chair is empty right now. He had to take a phone call. But Carl brings up a good point. He says, I need chaos in my tactical games. ASL doesn't do that very well. So that's just, one of those things where each of the tactical systems out there do things a little different and have their own, character to them and are going to attract a different group of people. And some people like all the tactical games and some people only like a few, which is, great because each one is going to talk to a different crowd.
Yeah. Yeah. They've all got their own, their own little preferences here and there.
Sure.
Sorry, the lighting wasn't real great in that room. I totally meant to walk over there when I was walking around.
No, it was fine. We could see. It wasn't as good as it is out in the regular room, but good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So they've got 3 tables set up out here with the actual terrain boards on them. But again, if you come in here to play on a Tuesday night, you can just go grab one of those tables and grab some of the terrain and set it up and play your Warhammer game or Bolt Action or whatever the heck you want to play. And they've got some terrain here that you can use to support that, which is pretty cool, pretty handy. So I'm just curious, look, ATS guy. Yeah.
I've never played ATS. I've heard people talk about it. I've never played that.
Played it once, probably 20 something years ago, played like one game of it. It was fine, but it didn't make that much more impulsive. Ha. Good play on words. It didn't make enough of an impression on me one way or the other. It's not like I played it and walked away from the table and went, God, that sucks. But, it wasn't enough that I ran out and bought a bunch of it either. It's been a while. I am curious, like we've got a handful of folks in the chat here, what some of the events that they are signed up to run are. Carl, we know what you're running. Your name is attached to all of the games that you are teaching. So we know what you got, but I'm sort of curious what some of the other folks signed up for. It's the registration pattern for this particular ACDC has been kind of weird because we have games that are either completely sold out or games that have nobody in them. And it's a little weird where we kind of cover. And what's funny about it is that's true of multiple iterations of the same game. Like at one point, David Thompson had one of his Lazarus Ridge games was sold out and the other one had all 4 tickets still available. So it was a little weird. So I'm just curious, from the folks that are in the crowd, what is it that you're signed up to play? What is it that really grabbed your attention for events that you wanted to make sure you got into? What of the games that we've got did you just jump into and go, oh my God, I gotta play that one?
And if there's something that's not listed, is there something you'd like to see listed for next time?
Yeah. Bearing in mind that some of that is GM dependent, right? Who can I get to show up and do these things for us?
This is
Brian
true.
says there's a couple of 68 games that are in development for Panzer Grenadier, for the modern Panzer Grenadier.
Okay, son, I'm going to check that out.
Well, Tuna, if that's the case, then it doesn't matter what you register for. Just go pick one and go play it.
Still a noob. Hey, this is the best time to get it. This is what these conventions are for. If you're a noob, especially, they're open for everybody and they're great for everybody. But if you're new to wargaming, jump in feet first. Don't worry about it. Just get in there. No one's going to judge you about lack of knowledge on a game or anything. We're all in the same boat. We're learning as we go. And the best part about the wargame community that you'll find that is bar none compared to everybody else superior. And that is when we play games, we're all tackling the same rule set. And these rules are complex. So when you sit down with somebody and play against them, you actually are doing, it's kind of a co-opetition thing. You're cooperatively working through the rules so you both understand them while you're playing against each other. And everybody just wants to learn how to play the game and have both players have the best experience possible. Some people want to win more than others, but generally, overall, everyone's like, hey, I'm here for the experience, to play, to have fun, and to help another wargamer get better and help myself get better at the same time, too. So jump in and just anything that's of interest to you, jump into it. Yeah.
Gamer 8576 looks like, or 8 looks like you got a pretty full slate there. Hi, Fabrizio. Welcome. It's like
He's going in and out again. We're hitting that.
I think we might have lost Brant. You froze up there, buddy.
Yeah, he's gonna have to jump back in here in a minute. We're gonna get him to come back as he has his connection
He's
back.
reconnecting.
Yeah,
Brant, you can just connect to my phone if you want. It might work better for you.
Fabrizio, hey, what's going on, man? Can't wait to see you on Sunday.
Hey, yeah, Fabrizio's here. Is he going to do a war game boot camp for Sacred Oil?
No, he's going to be part of the World War III roundtable that we've got Sunday morning. If anybody is not familiar with that, I think it's going to be a hell of a conversation. So don't miss out on that one. We're going to have in that show, we're going to have Bruce Maxwell from who's done NATO, and obviously Aaron Armour from Compass Games. And then we've got Fabrizio and Tony from Thin Red Line Games. They'll be talking about their 1985 series. And then we've got Yves Rattel, who's going to be talking about Red Strike that he's got coming out from VUCA Sims, and Adam Starkweather, who's doing the OSS CSS systems for Compass. And then there's this other guy. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. There's some older games that he did. What was it? I think it was Agent Strike, Gulf Strike. A guy, Mark Herman, I think is his name. So he'll be joining us as well. So
yeah,
should be
might have
really
heard him 1-2 times before.
It should be a great conversation, though, because we're going to have a lot of really intelligent people talking about a topic that has really, really taken off. World War III, hypothetical World War III has been become very hot the past couple of years, and it's great to see, especially for those of us who are big fans of hypothetical World War III. How many games there are? There are just a ton of games. It's and they
yeah, there has been an explosion of those recently.
Yeah, and thankfully, it's great to see. And Alec, Fleet Marine Force is a really great game. There we go.
Yeah, that OCS
right
boot camp is one that I need to go to so I can learn that one.
I know that would be good to attend.
The OCS boot camp was the first event to sell out.
Nice.
At the convention this time around. Gary had 8 seats in it, and it's completely full. Now, the people that are in the session will be in the Vassal module with Gary actually clicking and moving stuff around as he's coaching through stuff. But he's live streaming that one open to the public. You don't have to be a registered attendee to watch that one. So anybody'd be able to pop in and watch that. That one is the links to that one are the YouTube links are in the Discord, so folks can go grab that one to be able to watch it. If you're not playing it, still watch and at least see what's going on. You just won't be able to sort of click around in the Vassal module like everybody else will. So, Brian,
that's a good one right there.
Gary, yeah. So, Rich has been talking about this off and on for a while. Was looking at doing one just through the Dragoons. Has this also? He's got 2. Rich, I think it's just 2 games that you're doing, right? He's got a Napoleonic game and then an American War of Independence game that are both minis through TTS. Has is a regular with our Saturday Night Fights crew with Jim Ozarski that they do a lot of minis games through TTS. And one of the things they've been doing over the past year and change now is Project Quatre Bras, where they are taking the Battle of Quatre Bras and they're playing out through Tabletop Simulator. They're playing it out in like 10 or 11 different rule sets, just to compare how all the different rule sets treat the exact same battle and see what you come back with. And Has is a regular participant in those games, so he's well versed in how to do many stuff on TTS. And so if that's something that is at all of interest to you, they've got some really good scenarios lined up for that. So.
Excellent.
I'm seeing a lot of people talk about. I know I'm going to mispronounce it. Landsrith Ridge. The newest by David Thompson, and I gotta say I've played it. It's fun. It's probably now my favorite of the series. So that's definitely one you guys want to tune in. Yeah, it's between that and Castle Itter as my favorite, but I really think he knocked it out of the park with this fourth in the series. It plays so well. Like he's refined it each time with each new version that he's come out with, and this one he's just doing great with it. I really, really enjoyed that one. It's probably going to be my favorite of the 4.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Landsrith Ridge was one of those ones that still had seats available for at least one of the sessions from when I checked this afternoon.
Nice.
David had 2 sessions of that. We were lucky to get him this time around. He wasn't available this past summer at the June ACDC we did last summer, but he was available for this one. And so we got 2 sessions of Landsworth Ridge. One of them sold out in a hurry. It was like right after Gary's OCS boot camp sold out. That Landsworth Ridge sold out, and the other one still had all 4 seats available. So there may still be seats in one of those 2 sessions if folks want to jump in there and check that one out. And again, one of the cool things, Mo, you were talking earlier about how the community is happy to help teach games to folks, and let's learn it all together as we do. One of the cool things about this is we've got the designers teaching the games. It's not just David Thompson with Landsworth Ridge. We've got Ryan Howman and Dave Shaw doing White Eagle Defiant and Last One Standing. Bruce Maxwell is doing the NATO game on Sunday morning. The guys from Ad Astra Games are the ones doing the Squadron Strike games. Newton's Cradle and Romance of the Seven Realms are the 2 scenarios they're doing. They're using Squadron Strike, right? So that's dogfighting in space, but they're the designers of the games. So those are the guys that are teaching the games, which is really kind of cool. Tim Densham with Judean Hammer, he's the designer and publisher. The guys from Lock and Load, technically they're not the designers, right? But Keith Traxton's been running the world at War 85. He's been driving that train for 7, 8 years now, 6 years now. So they're not technically the designers, but they're the developers, right? They're sort of the product owner at this point. So the guys that are teaching these games, by and large, are the ones that designed them. They're the guys that created them. And so if you're going to learn from somebody,
right to the source,
not a bad somebody to learn from.
And I will say the other thing about, you had mentioned about NATO. If you've not ever talked with Bruce or sat in a class with Bruce, I would strongly recommend doing so. Not only is NATO, a fantastic game, it's my 2021 game of the year, without a doubt. However, with that said, just go into a demo with Bruce, and it's fantastic. He's a great instructor. And he has great knowledge and great passion for the subject, and he knows his game inside out, and he really explains it in a great way. So definitely worth your time.
And he takes a bottle of Happy Pills before it.
He does. It's great. But you need to be able
there's a happier dude out there.
You need to be able to present games like that, especially when you are, you have a complex game. You have to make it an engaging discussion, and he does. And we're looking forward to doing the next videos for the Air and Armor series as that game gets geared up to hopefully release later this year.
Yep.
There we go. Took me a sec to find the mute
Couldn't
button.
turn it on.
Yeah. That's something that I've noticed that I have to work on when I'm even just shooting my own videos, is just trying to keep the energy level up, because some of the stuff gets so deep. You're into this minuscule modifier, this whatever rule you're going over, and when you're doing that, it's hard to make it interesting and not kind of like a classroom environment. So I always try to get real excited about whatever big event happened. I rolled that 6, I'll blow up the tank. Okay, just whatever I can do to kind of keep the energy higher to keep people interested in whatever I've got going on, which is bolt action right now, by the way. So you guys check that out.
Outstanding. It's true, because when you get into an instruction mode, you do fall into instruction mode, where you become very monotone and you're explaining things. And a lot of that is I'm saying people in general, because you're trying to remember the steps you're trying to explain and why, modifiers, die rolls, different what if situations. And it's very easy to slide into the blah, 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 that tone, rather than, okay, let's roll. Oh yeah, and he hits, or damn it, he missed. These guys need more time on the range. Stuff like that to keep things engaging, and it's tough to do. People don't realize it unless they've done it themselves.
I saw Tommy's comment up above about having read the horse and musket rules but couldn't get a hold on Vassal. Tommy, I don't know if you know, but one of the Wargame boot camp sessions they're doing is a horse and musket session, so you can sign up for that one and let Carl let Carl show you the ropes. And again, look, one of the most consistently positive sets of reviews we get are the Wargame boot camp guys. And originally I was pretty bummed we weren't going to have them here this weekend, because they were committed to an actual in-person real world convention this weekend before we could get a hold of them. Turns out that one had to go get put on hold because of the plague. So we were able to get Carl and Tim to come join us here. So that was nice to have them. Oh, Chad's making fun of the dice.
No, I know exactly what moment he's talking about. I had Bravo Squad firing at the damn Japanese, and they were going to wipe them out, and it should have taken. And I roll it, and all it needed to be was 4 or higher, and everything but one was all ones, twos, and threes. I think I had 4 ones on that roll, and I was so pissed because that squad should have been wiped out. And I was just mad. I picked up the dice and I rolled them again, and they all came up something like 4s, 5s, and 6s. I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" And I just left that shit in there. But God, I was so pissed on that one.
And there's a comment from Tuna about your instruction. It's that it is clear and concise. You actually learn the game. When the manual makes your eyes glaze over, your videos put it in perspective, top notch. So there's a big kudos to you from Tuna.
Well, it's easy to be clear and concise when you have the ability to delete and refilm it when you do bad.
That's true.
You guys have no idea how many times I've caught myself, going into Bueller mode, and I'll stop, cut that part out. And do you do that like when you film? I know Brant doesn't film as much, but Mo, like when you film a video, do you catch yourself saying or doing something stupid and you leave yourself a note like, "Okay, dumbass, delete this later and refilm it,"
Oh yeah,
whatever.
I've done that. And then you can do what I just did with Purple Haze. This is a little Purple Haze story from the video I shot last week. I actually shot that twice because I shot it the first time and it was phenomenal. I mean, I went into even more detail. I had more engagements and things like that. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. I'm going to download this, and I'm missing one segment and a small segment. So like one big segment was like almost 30 minutes long. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I never hit record. So I could not show the other part of it because it totally was different than what happened when I played it the second time. So I was like, man, I can't reconstruct it and try to put the cards back in place and try to redo it. Nope. And the die rolls would have changed anyway. So I was like, I got to reshoot this again. And of course, it was a much more duller mission the second time around. I was like, damn it. But them's the breaks, man. It happens.
Yeah.
Dude, I've done that myself where I've forgot to hit record. I actually had that happen on the Bolt Action series, and thankfully I was running 2 cameras, an overhead and one that I had actually down, table side. And thankfully it was the one that was table side that recorded it, and the other one, it just glitched and powered off a minute into it. So I lost all the overhead footage, but I was able to salvage it and still have the video up. But I've had them before where I filmed it the whole thing and got done with it, and then I look at the camera and I go to hit stop and I realize that I never hit start. So I have to backtrack the game back to whatever game state it was in at that beginning point and refilm it. And I've got to say there have been some counters and dice chucked in anger after that moment.
Even better is when you record a segment and it's great and you've got all the stuff on screen that you want and you realized I didn't turn my mic on.
Yeah.
I suck. Those are the days you just want to run head first into a wall. You're like, oh man, I'm such an idiot. But hey, that's part of the fun of content creation.
We've had some similar challenges with some of the podcasts over the years. Also, we had one dude on a podcast while his wife was doing dishes in the background, so that was fun. We had another podcast that we recorded one day when I was punching my World at War 85 game in the background, and I didn't realize how loud it was picking up on the mic. So when I'm going back and trying to edit it together afterwards, every couple of seconds you got this super loud click. Click.
Yeah.
Where I'm punching the counters out while we're busy recording the podcast. So that was a real son of a bitch. That was not a lot of fun. Hey, Charlie, that just makes you a wargamer, dude. Seriously.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
we all buy stuff and I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get to it. 7 years later, man, I need to play this game still.
Mo, I'm going to set the line at 50. Over or under 50 games that you've owned more than 5 years that are unpunched and unplayed.
Oh, no. Most of them are going to be punched. I will punch and sort and clip.
That are not yet punched and played that you've had over 5 years.
I would say not.
Are you over under 50?
Punched and not played would be over 50.
No, not punched. They are unpunched. They are.
Oh no, unpunched. Unpunched is under 50. I punch pretty much everything. No, most everything.
Okay, because I'm just curious. Audience, chime in. Are you war games that you've had for over 5 years that are unpunched and unplayed? over or under 50? Are you over or are you under? So Charlie, suck it.
You know, I've actually had people send me war games before, and it was games from their collection, still in shrink, and they had sent them to me for me to cover at some point because they knew they were never going to get around to it. And I think some of these guys were a little bit older, and they probably think of themselves, well, I'm going to die before I get to this game, and they send it so I get to cover it. And unfortunately, a couple of them are still sitting on my shelf, and I actually found it. Mo, remember we were talking about it, the OCS games, the Korea one, and that one that has the architecture on the front of it, the Reluctant Enemies.
Reluctant Enemies.
Both of those. Yep, because we were talking about OCS, and Kev had finally talked me into it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. And I'm like, wait a damn minute, I actually have some OCS games that I haven't got to play yet, and I finally pulled them out. But I will say, and you guys let me know if you agree with this, one of the things that I love the most is when people tell me that they got something because they enjoyed my video on it and they like seeing me play it, and they got it based off of that. I'm like, okay, I'm doing something that's, worth a damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best. I love hearing, people email me, message me online or whatever, and they say, I got this video because of your video. And just the same, I like it when they say, I did not get this video because of your video, or I did not get this game because of your video, because I found.
I was going to say, how many videos are you selling, Mo?
No, I did not buy the game because of your video, because I found out this game was just not for me. It didn't fit what I was wanting to have in a game. So your video saved me money. And then, of course, they'll say something like, your video saved me money, but I watched these 3 other videos and I ended up buying those games because of those videos. So I like the fact that, the service that is provided is you're giving a more informed perspective to the gamer. So that way they know what to expect with the game, and they know whether it's going to fit their style of game, whether they like or dislike it right off the bat. Save them some money and some time.
Yeah. Brian, that is totally cheating. I just want to say, Brian buys stuff that's already punched. Totally
what?
Cheating.
Oh, cheater.
I will say
the Criterion collection.
My current collection for things that are unpunched, unplayed that I've had over 5 years is actually below 50 right now, but that's because I went through a purge about 3-4 years ago where I sent a bunch of stuff to other people that I knew I wasn't going to get to. Some of them were ones that we had gotten in order to do coverage for through one of the websites that I just didn't get a chance to get to. And I know some folks that when they manage to schmooze free copies of stuff from people, will turn around and end up selling them later, which I think is completely classless. But I've either donated them to game clubs or found other people to send them to, some friends who wanted a chance to play some stuff. And so I've had no problem at all sending care packages to folks to say, hey, here's some stuff I'm not going to get to. You play it, you enjoy it, you have fun with it. I've actually got a couple of them sitting at home right now that I'm looking for new homes for. So folks pop into the Dragoons forums. There's a buy, sell, trade thread in there where folks are talking about different stuff that they're looking to unload and move around. And so if there's some things that you're interested in, that's we've got all kinds of gamers willing to send things around. One of the other Dragoons, I missed them when they first came out, the original Millennium Wars collection from OSS. And one of the Dragoons, when he was moving not too long ago, he was paring down his game collection just so he had less stuff to move. What he did was he took them all to a game store, sold a bunch of them at a game store, got a bunch of store credit, bought a couple of newer games he did want. So he was moving fewer games, but he was still moving games. And so he sent me his Millennium Wars collection, which was very nice of him. And I got them. I put them on a shelf. They haven't come off the shelf yet because I've been doing other stuff.
Too many still in shrink. Do you not get it? Is it not normal, or am I weird? When you get a game, the first thing you do is rip open a shrink, open a box, and sniff it. It's like, new game.
You got to pull it open,
and then you got to play with it. You got to look at the rule book. You got to at least touch it and check it out. And then because every time you open up every time I open up a war game, the wafting odors and all that come through, the beautiful smells of the brand new game, and then you hear the little words that come through, possibilities. It's like all the possibilities that this game gives you that you can recreate history, and I think it's just fantastic.
I've actually found that Kickstarter has been the best thing, and don't you rat me out for this. has been the best thing to ever happen, because some random box will show up and it'll have a game in it, and I can just tell her, "Oh, that's that Kickstarter I backed. Oh yeah, it was over a year ago." She has no idea when the hell I ordered that damn thing. Any game, doesn't matter when it came in. It was a pre-order or a Kickstarter. I could have ordered it yesterday and Amazon delivered it today. Why is it in an Amazon box? That's just what Kickstarter's using now, baby. I don't know. This is how it works. I love Kickstarter, man.
Yeah, Mo, you're cracking the shrink thing. One of the things that I've had to do is I've had to resist the urge to open the shrink on a couple of things, simply because I want to wait until I get a chance to shoot them for our monthly unboxing day.
Yeah.
And so I will sometimes get them in shrink, and they'll sit for a couple of weeks until we're closer to unboxing day, and that's when I will, because otherwise, if I crack the shrink too early, I'll forget to take pictures and start doing other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I did that was kind of funny is one of the games that I got from the MMP sale a couple of months ago. My copy of Monty's Gamble was actually double shrink wrapped. I got to open the shrink, and then I got to open the shrink again because it had two things to shrink wrap on the box. So.
And Tim's saying here,
I'm
try
curious.
ripping off the shrink and sniffing a brand new game from Hollandspiel. I did that once and I passed out, and emergency services was here. But it kind of reminds me of the old mimeograph machines. You get that same smell, but it is it can be pretty potent.
Yeah,
I'm curious. We're talking about the shrink ripping. Like, what are y'all's like grail games that, like, if you got it, you probably wouldn't rip the shrink off of it just because you wouldn't want to do that? You know what I'm talking about? Like, you don't have one?
Nope. If I had a game that I wanted to play, it's a grail game, I'm going to rip it open at least to look at it. Now, I would say not a grail game, but if I got two copies of Case Blue, I would keep one in shrink just because of the value of it. The other one I'm going to open and play.
Yeah. The grail games that I have out there are ones that I want to get because I want to be able to play them. I would love to get a copy of the original Divine Right from TSR from the early 80s, but I want it because I want to play it. Now, if I, like Mo said, if I could get two copies, one still in shrink, sure. But if I can only get one, I'm playing that bitch. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's to play. Some of the ones that I've been hunting down when I see people put stuff up for sale, I've now got full complete sets of both of the Modern Battles quads. There's a couple of those other late 70s, early 80s, Cold War goes hot in Europe kind of games from SPI, especially some of the flat packs that I'm still trying to hunt down. Ones that I played, growing up, that I'm still trying to hunt down. But I want them because I want to play them, not because I want to, just put them on a shelf and admire them.
Gamer 8567, I would say that you're partially correct. Sometimes they can be a little more potent, but I would recommend dryer sheets. Take a dryer sheet or two, throw it in the box, close the box over, put it on your shelf for a couple days, and it will take away a lot of that chemical smell, because some of them are a little more potent than others. And you throw a dryer sheet in there, it does suck out all that smell, and it makes it smell minty fresh. Not minty fresh, but a little more floral when you open up the box.
Did you ever get any of the old laser cut games from Victory Point?
Victory Point? Oh yeah, the old barbecue games. Smell like barbecue.
Yep. Yeah.
Those are great.
A campfire.
The problem with
we
those,
still get those now.
Yeah, it smells like
the
barbecue.
prototype
And you want to lick your fingers. You want to lick your fingers after you just. Oh, this smells so good. You want to lick your fingers like you're missing some of the sauce.
No, for me, the very first one of those that I ever got was World at War 85.
Yeah,
I got a prototype copy of that back before it officially released on Kickstarter, and that kicked off my burnt wood smell equals awesome new game that isn't out yet. So to me, that just means really, really cool thing that I want to get on the table. The only bad part is that black soot you still get all over your hands the moment you start trying to move the counters, because you could never get rid of that from those laser cut counters.
True. The thing with laser cut counters, though, you find is you get some alcohol or even maybe some Windex or something like that, put it on a paper towel, and then wipe down the residue on the outside. You're still going to get the residue from punching it, but you'll at least get a lot of the residue off on both sides from the top and bottom of the counter. So that'll minimize some of that dirt that just keeps it just replicates from there.
Sorry, there's a lot of shoppers in here now, a lot of people coming in case you guys are hearing anything over top of us.
Yes, dryer sheets and games that will keep your games nice and fluffy and make them fresh every time you open the box. Now, we're talking about Blue Panther with their chemical process, how some of the games could be a little more potent smelling than others, and dryer sheets, you can throw them in there and then I'll take some of that off. Just like if you buy a used game from somebody and they happen to be a smoker, you can throw the dryer sheets in there. It'll take some of the smoke smell out.
Can you guys really tell, like, if someone's a smoker? I mean, I get it if they like smoke in their house, but let's say someone doesn't smoke in their house, because I smoke, but I don't smoke in the house, right? So I'm not seeing how there could be that much of a transfer.
Oh yeah, there
So
is.
Mo, I've sent you stuff before. Have you been able to smell like smoke on it before?
Yeah, I can,
You
because
can. Wow.
because I think I'm a little more sensitive to it, because I'm, I vape now, but I smoked for years and I quit that and went to vaping. But you can tell when someone has played their games and smoked at the same time. You can smell it off of the game, and to me, it doesn't bother me. But if you're going to give it to anyone else or sell it or something like that, you're going to want to take that smell out, because some other people will be offended by it. Me, it doesn't bother me at all. I'm just like, smoke.
One of the other things that I've noticed over the years, and I think this has to do with when I was a kid growing up, two of my good friends who were gamer friends of mine that we would play a lot of games together, both their dads smoked pipes. I can tell the difference if the game came from a cigarette smoking household versus a pipe smoking household. So you can smell the difference.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I could see that, yeah, with a pipe, because that pipe tobacco is very pungent. Like, it puts off a very distinct smell. So I could see that. I just never thought it transferred that much. I guess I have to keep that in mind. The big thing I always think about is the buy sell trade groups on Facebook, or the pay it forward groups. And I never really thought about mentioning the fact that I smoke, because I don't smoke in the house. So I'm like, well, none of my games are exposed to it. But I'll make sure and annotate that I smoke, but I don't smoke around the games. So there might be a faint odor, just so people know.
Well, Lance,
Yes, I guess I don't have a sense of smell.
The first thing a smoker loses is their sense of smell, but when you quit smoking, you gain it back, and actually it becomes a little more acute, I think, because you're able to pick up on things that other people don't pick up on, because you've been denied it for years being a smoker.
Yeah. Now you definitely, you can tell, but it's for some people it's a deal breaker. It's not for me, but for some people I know it is a deal breaker. So, but the is do some people's pets play? I have no idea if some people's pets play or not. I know there's cats that like to try to play.
Pipe smoking smells classier. I like that.
Depends on what kind of pipe you've got there, I suppose. So.
Well, if you do get a game owned by a stoner, you better make sure you got some Cheetos with you.
Just don't let the Cheeto stains get on the counters. That's all. Or the Dorito stains get on the counters. So, but no, Nate was right. We are, when we sat down in here to start the show, we only had 4 folks kind of over off the corner playing Magic, and we're up to probably 20, 25 people in here now that are starting to wander around the stores.
Good.
The population has gone up a bit, which again, good for them. We want the store to sell all kinds of stuff and stay in business for as long as possible. It'd be great. But what it does mean is that we've got a little more noise in the background here while we're broadcasting. So, so it is what it is. I thought about bringing a cheesy little on-air sign just to put in here. But honestly, I didn't want people being overly quiet while we were in here, because part of the appeal of being at the store is to have the ambiance of the store going around in the background. So
and there's guaranteed to be somebody, if this says live on air, they're going to come up and say, "Are you guys broadcasting somewhere?"
Yeah.
I hate this is slow though. I mean, Brant, you've been in the store plenty of times before, and you know that what is today, Friday? Like on a typical Friday night, this is dead, right?
Yeah, well, because right now Friday Night Magic's on hold.
Yeah,
nationwide, it's on hold because they can't do the organized play that Wizards normally does.
Oh wow!
Magic because the standards are too. Friday Night Magic, I mean, it's national standings across the whole country, and so they've got all that on hold right now because the ability to play in the stores is so inconsistent across the country that Wizards just kind of put the whole thing on pause. One of the things I really wanted to do, Nate, I don't know if you ever came over here. They used to They had to suspend it during the pandemic, but in October every year they would do a 24-hour board game marathon in here. That's a fundraiser for a local children's medical charity. It's some form of cancer charity. I don't remember exactly which one, so I don't want to get it wrong. No, Charlie, we hadn't. Today was the first day we've been in the same place at the same time, despite living in the same town for a decade.
I've been trying to play matchmaker with these guys for a couple of years now. Finally, they're getting together.
Most totally like 3 times, but you guys have to remember, like, I have a like significant, like, I don't joke when I say brain injury. Like, my memory sometimes is like a goldfish. So sometimes you'll tell me something and it sticks, and sometimes it just won't.
I know. I got to remind you how many times on things.
when they do that 24-hour board game marathon in here, again, right now the store is more empty than not. This will be packed. I mean, there will be over 150 people in the store when they do that board game marathon. And it's, you pay for the ticket, it's $10 or whatever, and they're in here all night long. They start at 6 a.m. They go till 6 a.m. the next day, or it might be 8 a.m. They go 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. They've got a huge raffle wall in here that you can try and win some games out of. I've won a couple over the years. They've got a ton of prizes that they give out all night long. So as long as you're in here playing, you're eligible for the prizes. They've given out big screen TVs. They've given out signed hockey sticks from the Carolina Hurricanes. They've given out giant game bundles. Folks like GMT and MMP and Compass always support this thing, plus a lot of the Eurogame publishers. They donate a ton of games for the raffle tickets that they do here. It's a really great event. It raises a ton of money for local charity stuff here. And the place is packed when they do it. I've put pictures up on the website over the years for those things. It's pretty fantastic. The problem is we got a plague going on right now. We can't shove that many people into one building at once.
Yeah.
So I would love to do a live broadcast from one of those once they start doing them again.
Oh my God, I can't wait. I mean, what Brant's talking about is my favorite time here at Gamers Armory, and I love the raffle wall. I have been begging them to do that again. For some reason, I have it stuck in my mind that it's a Christmas thing, and it's not when they do it. But I love that raffle wall because he has war games on it, and they don't get as much attention as some of the others. Like, he's put Gloomhaven and plenty of games, get donated, but the bigger ones, and especially when he had like TVs that he was raffling off, that was capturing everybody's attention. And the wife loved doing the raffles too. So we'd buy a little handful of raffle tickets, and I just go down the line with the war games. I'm like, I know I'm getting one of these, and I've won each year that they've had the raffle that I participate in. I've always won a game out of it. I got the ASL pack one year. Nice. It was ASL pack 1, 2, and 3 starter kits. Yeah, it was the 3 starter kits. So I got 3 starter kits, and then I got Baptism by Fire by MMP Games one time, and then I got something else I can't remember off the top of my head. But it was the best thing, and he was always doing all those types of events. And then, like Brant was talking about, the kids events that they would do during the summer, the
camps.
Summer camp.
Yeah, the camps, the summer camps they would always do. And that's one of the biggest reasons I always try to come here at least once a month and just buy anything, know, even if it's just some paint, some brushes, a game if I'm looking for one at the time, something, because for the longest time he gave back to the community. And now that COVID has made it to where game stores are a luxury and they're not as packed as they were, we needed to band together and make sure we keep their heads above water until all this smooths over finally.
Yeah, so I just looked up the 2019 event because we did cover it for Armchair Dragoons. I pulled up the older things. There's a slideshow of some of the folks that were playing that day, and there's slideshows of the giant raffle wall that they set up at the front of the store here. The charity that they're benefiting is the Turner Syndrome Society is what it is, and it's a Games for Cures charity that benefits the Turner Syndrome Society. But basically the entire store is packed for 24 hours straight of nothing but game stuff going on in here all night long, and it's a really cool thing. And I've won some Euro games. I've won some war games from here. I'm trying to think. I think my copy of Great Northern War was one of the raffle prizes here. I don't remember that for sure. I know my copy of Imperial Settlers was, which is a Euro game. It's one of those civ building Euro games. I know that was one of the prizes from here. And then I got a copy of one of the 8-Minute Empire games from Red Raven I got in one of the raffles here as well. One of the other things is some of the smaller stuff, some of the smaller Eurogame type publishers are ones that not a lot of people are dumping tickets into. So, so I tend to throw a whole lot of tickets into ones that I know are not going to be as popular, just to increase the chance of winning the raffle prize there. So, but,
yeah, we got
so yeah, it was
yeah, we got what was it? Tuna's saying he's got to get ready for his OCS, and I think we do have OCS here that's going to be starting up in about 15 minutes or so. So we're gonna cut the show here at this point, so that way anybody who is going to be joining in the OCS can get ready to join in. That we don't want to be talking over other activities that are going on with the con, but we just wanted to give you guys a quick rundown of not only Gamers Armory, but also what's going on at the convention this weekend and what to look forward to. We've discussed about the different talk shows, the seminars, the game events that are out there. And if you've not already signed up, make sure you go and sign up for the convention. And it is, you can still get tickets here. I'm going to get to the website so we can get that up
So
there.
when you say OCS, do you mean the OCS boot camp? Is that happening right after this?
Yep, starts at 8 o'clock Eastern.
Damn, I was thinking that was tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
Nope.
So
there is the website. There is the website there that you can go to.
So to answer Joe's question in terms of the con being streamed, so we encourage the GMs whenever possible to stream the event, if not through a YouTube channel, then at least on the Discord, so that as convention goers, you can sort of kind of walk around, right? The air quotes are intentional because you're on Discord to be able to pop into other people's things and see what they're broadcasting as they're going. But the talk shows, the actual designer interview stuff, these are all being streamed live. So you can watch the talk shows without registering for the convention. We'd like for you to register for the convention, but you don't have to. The seminars that we're doing tomorrow, those game design seminars with the game design students, those are being broadcast with unlisted URLs. So you have to be a registered attendee to get the URL. And then after the weekend, we will flip them over to public. So if you want to participate in them live with some Q&A with the designers, you got to be a registered attendee to do that. Otherwise, you can watch them after the fact. And really, that's kind of the equivalent of sort of sticking a video camera in the back of the room at a real world convention, right? You got to be in the room to be a part of the discussion, but somebody can always stick it on YouTube after the fact. So we got the OCS boot camp starting at the top of the hour. The other thing we've got starting right after this, the next talk show in the barrel, our buddy Justigard is interviewing the designers from Robotech Reconstruction. And some of you are going, geez, Robotech, what's that got to do with it? It's a heavily coin-influenced game. It's much more of a war game than you realize, the way it's got sort of the conflict set up, where it's a 4-player asymmetrical, reconstruction after the Great Robotech War that invaded Europe or invaded Earth. It's a pretty decent game. We've had those guys on the podcast before. They're going to be doing 2 sessions of the game itself over the next 2 days. But Justigard's going to be interviewing them tonight. One of the other things that we tried to do, and Mo, because you and I were talking about this, the last couple of conventions that we've had have been a pretty heavy diet of Mo and Gary running a lot of talk shows. And what we tried to do this time is reach out and get some other content creators involved. So we got Justigard doing one. Dan with No Enemies Here is going to be interviewing the Blue Panther games after the Robotech show is done. So that's going to be on 10 o'clock tonight. So it's a late night one. Blue Tweezers is doing an interview with a bunch of UK folks on Sunday morning before you guys do your World War III panel. Those guys will be on. So we've tried to reach out and get some of the other content creators involved as well in being involved in this. So those of you that aren't in the OCS boot camp, if you want to jump into the Robotech Reconstruction talk show, the links are in the Discord, and those guys will be coming up at the top of the hour also. So that'll be another fun show to do.
And there's a comment here and from Brian Jarvis. He said, both SD Hiss and ACDC, thank God for you guys helping us keep things real in unreal times. And it's true. I mean, these, digital conventions that we've been involved in, been going for a couple of years now, they're not going away. The way things have been going with minimizing, or for a while there, no one could meet in person. And now it's still hard for people to meet in person. This is a respite from not being able to get at online conventions or in-person conventions. We do the online ones. And even when things go back to, everybody can go to in-person conventions, I think online conventions still have a place to be, to fill in spots between the times you go to conventions and the times you can't.
Yeah.
So really happy to be
we've
involved
talked
in
about
this.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really
we
happy to
talked
be
about it.
involved.
We're keeping this weekend every year going
Yeah.
forward. MLK weekend in January will be a virtual convention with the Armchair Dragoons. It will be
Yeah.
an ACDC weekend, MLK weekend every year. Just plan on it. This is what
Yeah,
we're going to do.
definitely. You know, real happy to be involved in it and keep it going because it's something we believe in and we want to see, expand and continue on for everybody and give everybody a chance to be at conventions they may not normally be able to get to because you have people coming in from the UK. They couldn't necessarily get to a convention here in the States. So now they can. But that's the great thing about online conventions. They're worldwide. So thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. Thanks you guys for being in there at Gamers Armory. And thanks to Gamers Armory folks for letting you guys stay there and make sure you get a copy of T2K there, Gimpy.
I'm heading right over there.
Nice.
And thanks to Nate for crashing the show. This was great. You know, it's nice to have an extra person on the show and especially like we can wave at each other. You know, look, the dude is right there, right? we're right here in a room together. So that's
awesome.
Kind of cool. That's unusual for a digital convention to be able to do that. So
yeah, well, that's whole part of the fun here that we got this weekend, and there's a lot to do. So make sure you sign up for the convention if you've not already done so, and if you have, go and enjoy a lot of the shows and the talk shows, the seminars, and the events because there's a bunch of them for everybody to enjoy. And thanks, guys, for tuning in tonight. Really appreciate it. Have a great night and have a great con.